Facebook, YouTube, and socials online here. We're going to let our live Zoom audience in as well. Hey, everyone on Zoom, welcome. Thanks for joining us for today's program. We'll get started momentarily. Spotlight myself as well as our guest for today. And yeah, let's intro the program here so we can get started. Thank you guys for showing up. Today we're for Piano Tech Radio Hour. We typically go for about an hour on the program today. We're going to go a little bit shorter today, maybe about 30 minutes, just because I have an emergency that I had to attend to. But we're going to have a great compressed interview here with our guest, Layla Viss. And so I'll get right into it. I'll intro the program and I will intro her. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. I'll be giving you some information how you can continue to stay abreast of what we're up to. If you want to participate, you can feel free to put comments in the chat. And if you have questions or ways you want to engage, totally feel free. We can potentially bring you on to chat or bring you by voice or just look at your comments. Either way, if you like to engage, feel free amidst the program to interject. So this is Piano Tech Radio Hour, as I mentioned, and we gather here every Saturday to meet with and learn from the most fascinating and knowledgeable folks in the piano world. This includes manufacturers, rebuilders, musicians, makers of other instruments, and of course, piano techs. Our mutual goal is to become better at our craft to help each other and to create an ever more musical world together. Piano Tech Radio Hour is brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses. That's an online learning resource that brings you cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. You can find out more at pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. You can also subscribe to Radio Hour. It's just $16 a month. You get direct access to each week's private Zoom call, as well as all the archival recordings of over 200 episodes in our member area. Join using the link bit.ly/joinptrh. That's bit.ly/join PTRH. We also have a podcast audio only version of the program you can find at pianotechradio.com. We've been top 100, top 10, even #1 status in various locales in the performing arts category on iTunes. You can also check out our Substack for written content that gives you a sneak peek into what you can find in our member area at the master classes. And also we have our socials, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Our email list, which you can join at the website, pianotechniciansmasterclass.com, with just your name and email, and you'll stay up to date with everything that's going on with us. All right, let us intro our guest for the day and jump right into it. Our guest, as mentioned, is Layla Viss. She has spent more than 3 decades helping students become confident, creative musicians through innovative piano instruction. A respected educator, author, and frequent clinician, she is widely recognized for her work in piano pedagogy, technology, improvisation, and composition. She is the co-founder of 88 Creative Keys, author of the iPad Piano Studio, and recipient of the 2025 Francis Clark Center Outstanding Service Recognition Award. Alongside teaching students ranging in age from 7 to 77, she continues to share practical ideas with teachers worldwide through workshops, conferences, and her online platform, as well as podcasts like this one. Layla, welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Ethan, and I admire this platform, and thanks for inviting me to share a little bit about what I do.
Absolutely. Like your Think Outside the Box poster right behind you there. It's a good thing to focus on.
Uh-huh.
I'm inside this little box here. I don't know what to do about that, but I always like to launch with this question. You know, what was your first encounters with music that you can remember, and how that led to it being such a focus in your life? Can you recall the path from point A to point B?
Certainly can. I grew up in a small town, Sioux Center, Iowa, where everyone played an instrument. And most everyone played more than one. So I started with violin, I think, before piano, and then started piano. And my bigger sister was always doing these things first. So, of course, I wanted to join in and do them as well. And then when I graduated from high school, I didn't know what to do for a career. So I thought, well, I'll just go for music. So I did kind of a general music degree. And then I got married, moved to Colorado. Now what do I do? I noticed there was a degree in piano pedagogy, how to teach piano. And I thought, oh, I think that sounds like fun. So then I went on and got my master's degree. And then I did all of that. And then I wondered, do I really want to do this job? Because that means I start at about 3 or 3:30. Who wants to start their day at 3 or 3:30? So I had to really rethink, am I going to do this for a career? And if so, I'm going to make it fun with a capital F, meaning it had to be fun for me as well as for my students. So that kind of has brought me to here and perhaps why I'm even on the show today with you.
All right. Well, we're here to have some fun.
Yeah, there you go.
Sounds good. I like that philosophy. It's that it's actually an interesting that you bring it up. I haven't been as focused on it now, but I used to really be excited about the positive psychology, books and things like that.
Mhm.
And the themes of gratitude, of course, but if you're constantly thinking you need to get somewhere in order to feel good or have fun, you might not actually get there. If you can enjoy what you're doing in the moment, right,
Mhm.
you can actually do it better, and that will take you even further places. So I definitely ascribe to that philosophy. What
Just
have you?
oh, sorry,
Yeah,
just a
go
side
ahead.
note is that I thought I wanted to have fun, meaning, just normal fun. And then I recently listened to a TED talk by Catherine Price on
Mhm.
fun.
Mm,
And fun is a feeling. So
okay.
Disneyland is an activity and an artificial fun, but
Mm,
when you're feeling fun, that is true fun. So
mm,
gave me a deeper meaning because yes,
mm.
that ultimately is my goal. Is I want to feel like I'm having fun and that my students are also enjoying the fun of learning an instrument. So little side note there.
Yeah, let's dive deeper into fun here. Why not? There's
Yeah.
well, so I came across this recently as well. Um, the A friend of mine had said they like type two fun. Are you
Oh,
familiar with the difference between type one and type two fun?
no, no. Oh,
So,
school
so
me.
type one fun is like, yeah, just like, oh, I'm giggling, I'm having fun, I'm laughing, it's kind of easy. Type 2 fun is specifically, and not everybody gets excited about this, the fun that you have doing something that's actually hard or challenging, right? Like somebody might enjoy rock climbing or working out or like testing their limits. I don't know. I was just at the local theme park, right? Going on the roller coasters.
Hmm.
I don't know
Hmm.
whether that counts as type one or type two fun. I think it depends on the type of person you are.
Yeah. I agree. That brings to mind, I started my studio with off-bench time, meaning I use technology to reinforce skills and concepts. And so then when the iPad came out, that's why I wrote a book about it because it really transformed how I do that off-bench time. Because I started with, the old clunky computer with the floppy disk and the blinking cursor and all that kind of stuff. And now with an iPad, you just click on an app and students can start reinforcing skills. But what's really neat is, I'll be teaching with one student and then the other one will be working on the iPad with some drills. And then suddenly they'll be like, yay, I got it, and they're excited. And that is that type two fun. They worked on something hard and then they have that fulfillment of achieving something. And that I can't give that to them. I can't make that fun. It comes with them working hard.
Yeah, yeah, you can only introduce it. Yeah. And try to you can kind of guide a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
actually, that reminds me of a guest that we've had on the program before. He's actually well respected in the piano technicians community. His name's Dale Irwin. He does like piano rebuilding and all kinds of different things. But one thing that he said when he was a guest and a teacher in our master classes was, I can teach you how to do something, but I can't teach you to care.
Mm.
I always
Hmm.
thought that was very interesting, right? Like there
Hmm.
is something that has to be switched on internally, where whether you know how to do something or not, you also like have a desire to do it well.
Yes. That's so true. Especially I teach a lot of beginner students whose parents probably want them to be at the lesson, not necessarily on their volition. And yet, who doesn't like music? So I think that's probably one of my mantras is that when a piano student comes, I'm going to make sure that they are playing things that they like so that when they practice, they can see progress on things that actually mean something to them.
So tell us a little bit more about the iPad Piano Studio. So and so how the idea came about, putting something like that together, of course, takes time, energy, and focus. And so tell us a little bit about kind of the impetus and the process of bringing that together. And then maybe we'll take a minute to talk about what's inside.
Okay. Yeah, that was released in 2013, which is what centuries ago in the world
Yeah,
of
100 years, yeah,
technology.
hundreds
And
of years ago in terms of
so it's really not
technology. Yeah.
something that I'm going to say, go get it now,
Okay.
because
Yeah. Okay.
although what I notice is that the apps that I recommend are mostly the ones that I am still using. So
Hmm.
they have a shelf life. Some do and some don't. But I also just brought in the perspective of why using technology. And, that was a season where people were still like, I don't know about this, how we are about AI now.
Hmm.
It's going to evolve, but I was blogging about how I use the iPad and what apps I like. And then someone named Philip Johnston, who is an incredible author from Australia, he contacted me and he had this big, long, bloated paragraph on why I needed to write a book about it. So that was a really neat, if you're ever wanting to encourage someone, write an email like that to someone who's wondering if they should or not. So then I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. And so I kind of had this philosophy, if I build it, maybe they'll come. And so I self-published it, and then it did get picked up by Alfred Music. So that was a really nice surprise, but that's not why I did it. I think
Hmm.
I have learned, in fact, I'm cooking up another book right now, and I'm doing it because I want to, not because anyone is telling me to. So that's where it landed. Then I had a companion blog to go with that, and it really put me on the map for being someone who knew something about the iPad and also what apps to use to encourage and reinforce young pianists. But I now I use Practice Space, which I deliver all of my assignments through that. And so it can track student practice. They open up their mobile device and they click go and they look at all their assignments and they practice with it. So it's evolved into something that, technology is not just a little side gig. It is part of how I am teaching now, every part and piece of it.
Hmm. Yeah, and I would encourage, and maybe you've looked into this now. I mean, I think it's not always obvious to me how much exposure the average person has to this, but you know, that if just with a little bit of interest and knowledge, you can create applications now. You can use AI. You might need some help from a developer who knows a little bit more, but it's not as much as you used to, and it's not as costly as you used to. So encourage anybody that's listening to explore those possibilities, and would be interested to see what you come up with as well. Because yeah, you can literally just you can go to one of these, you can go to Manus or other services and just say, hey, I'd like an app that encourages my kids to practice piano, whatever, right? And just get started,
Yeah.
and you'll be surprised at how far you can get.
I'll put that on my list of things to do, but right now it's on my to don't list.
You got to focus, dude. You got to
There you go.
focus.
Yes.
Um, I want to go back to this concept that you started with earlier on, which is kind of the schedule of what you do and how you wanted to make it fun and optimize it. So I'm curious, do you tend to keep that schedule that you mentioned, which is kind of like starting at 3:30? Have you found a way to make it different? Because maybe you do things remotely. Um, and where have things evolved in terms of your schedule and how you organize your time and energy compared to kind of when you first had those thoughts?
Hmm. Well, a lot of it has been transformed, that's for sure. I had this philosophy that I would teach anyone. And so I grew my studio quite rapidly because I would just take anybody on. And I was capable. I could teach beginners, I could teach advanced players. And so that really grew my studio. And I loved the word of mouth referrals more than anything else. I really didn't market myself. And then the pandemic happened, and then all of us piano teachers, most of us, pivoted to online, which, it was really good that I had some tech experience because then I really had to put it into practice. And then that really exploded my opportunities for teaching yet again. And then I had some Australia students who could come during the day. I've been teaching homeschool students, so then that can fill up some of my days. And I'm a morning person, so if I have dedicated piano students who want to come before school, I'm all for it because after school gets really busy. So I could fill my days with teaching if I wanted to. But now Since then, I have developed a lot more teacher courses and a membership called Space to Create. And so I generate a lot of content for that. So I need time to do that. And so that has helped me think through and scale back how many students I'm taking and guarding my time just a little bit more so that I have more time to get creative and think outside the box.
Mm,
And I think that's a luxury that I have now that when I first started, I may not have had that. Teaching is bread and butter. It's the fastest way to pay the bills.
mm.
And so now I'm exploring some other options and I do quite a bit of composing and arranging. So I feel like I'm finally getting into a place where I'm settling in and, ooh, I like this balance. And pointing north to my freedom compass, if you might want to call it that way, doing the things I really want to do.
Mm. Yeah, I really appreciate the creativity. You talk about you want to share that with your students, but you're applying this to your own career and work. You're thinking outside the box as we see there on your wall there.
Mhm.
I'm reminded for some reason of this thing that I've heard Tony Robbins say a couple times, and he would ask a mentor of his, he's like, it doesn't seem fair that teachers get paid so little and they work so hard and their work is so valuable. And his mentor was saying, well, that's their kind of value in the marketplace. It's not their value as human beings. Of course, we all have value as human beings and contributors, but the marketplace will tell you kind of what's valuable. And I think what's interesting here is you're exploring these ways that you can take your passion for teaching, which is so admirable and wonderful, and it's provides great resource and wonderful qualities to other people, and say, how can I leverage it so that I can both create more value in the marketplace and also you probably help more people, right? Than you could if you were just kind of putting up a flyer at the local grocery store, something like this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Teaching teachers is a ripple effect. That's what I'm hoping to pass down is, and what I come from a very traditional way of being taught piano where it's read only. You play the repertoire from European dead guy pieces, and that's the bar. And so I don't teach that way. I actually teach, you're not supposed to parent this way, but I teach out of reaction to how I was taught. And so I want to make sure that my students, yes, they can play some classics, but I also want them to be able to play and do what I'm doing right now. I accompany a choir. I play organ, which not all of them are apt to playing organ, but I also play with a band. I'm doing that tomorrow where I have to play from a chord chart and I've got my in ear and she's talking to me, telling me, here comes the bridge, playing with the metronome, all those kind of things. And that is real life skills. That is not pie in the sky. Oh, someday I hope to play a concert at Carnegie Hall because I know none of my students will be doing that. So that's given me a lot of direction. But coming back to what I'm doing with teaching teachers is most teachers haven't been exposed to how do you teach creativity and chord charts and improvisation because they're used to teaching Mozart and Beethoven. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what it's a small little niche, I have to say, but
Mm-hmm.
it's fit me well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You had provided a couple of options for recordings for us to review. I think maybe we'll choose one, check it out.
Mhm.
Which one of the three that you shared might be most appropriate? I
That's hard.
prefer.
Well, let me tell you what all three are, and then I'll let you
Okay.
choose. How does that sound?
Okay.
Okay. The first one is a duet that I composed after watching the Artemis 2 mission land.
Oh, okay.
I'm not that much into space, but I happened to be reading a novel about space, and then we just happened to catch it, sitting back, watching TV, and we watched it land, and just incredible. And then we saw the interviews with the astronauts afterwards, and like, what was that like? And then I also have some favorite composers that I will listen to a lot. I'm not going to name any names because that's one of the things that I love to do is I love to borrow from other people and then see what I can do with it. So the first video that I shared with you is called Lunar Flyby, and it basically is telling the story of what it might have been like to sit in the rocket, go up, and then circle the moon and then come back down. So that was a lot of fun. And usually not that imaginative with my pieces. I don't know what got into me, but I had to write that one. And then the second video is one of two girls who were, oh, they're kind of in the tweener age where they're really good friends, not practicing a lot, but they both liked In the Hall of the Mountain King. So I decided, well, what if you both learn it as a solo and then you create a duet out of it? And
Hmm.
so this was me coaching them to create a duet, but this was not me telling them what to do. My philosophy is you give choices and that gives ownership and I let them decide. So that is a video of their final project of In the Hall of the Mountain King. And that one, I thought of that one because, I just posted it on Instagram and man, that one went viral. Like in my little world, it went viral. I don't have a big
Hmm.
following, but
Yeah, yeah.
that was interesting. And then the third one is uh, it's an organ performance of me playing an original arrangement of a hymn because I have played everybody's arrangements and I have played so many hymns so many times. And I like to find things that let's see, I like to write things that I want to come upon. So that explains that organ piece that I shared. And that one kind of surprisingly went viral in my little world too, just because I do put a pop twist on it. Let's put it that way.
All
So
right.
there you go.
Well,
There's your selection.
I want to actually, I'm going to go for two of these here. We'll do them back to back. I want to do the Artemis thing,
Okay.
because I love outer space too.
Oh, okay.
I'm a
Yeah.
sucker for
Yeah.
that. So I want to see what you were inspired around.
Okay.
And if we have a minute, we'll check out the duet of the tweens. So let me do a screen share and
Okay. Can I make one confession to a piano technician? I apologize now.
piano's out
Okay.
of tune. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The lunar flyby I recorded
Oh, on
on
a,
my In1X
okay.
because I didn't have another person. So anyway, I'm sorry.
You will pay the consequences at
Okay.
some point. We'll come find you. All right. Am I sharing? Yes, I'm sharing this. And you go on a full screen. Zoom. Still doesn't make the window easy to see here. And full screen. Oh, you know what? Let me go back. Make sure I'm sharing audio.
Oh yeah. Good idea.
Share. Flyby. Share sound. There we go. All right, let's hear it.
I was so inspired by the Artemis 2 mission that I decided I had to write a piano duet. Now, because I'm missing a primo pianist right now, I've recorded that part on my In1X and I'll be playing the secundo. This is called Lunar Flyby.
I know, pause briefly there. That was pretty cool. I like that. I love that you were inspired. The universe spoke to you and delivered this composition. That's pretty cool. Um,
Thank you. Hey, Mary Jo, thanks.
I have to share this. I don't know. I recently brought my son to the local planetarium,
Ooh,
and
okay.
oh man, what was it? I'm gonna look it up while we're viewing the next thing. But there is this really cool game they had at the planetarium. It's like a big table with a screen on it, and you could create galaxies and planets and black holes and all these different things, and they would interact like a real physical universe, but like on a time scale that went really fast.
Wow.
So cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm a sucker for anything in the space. All right, let's take a look at the students of yours doing their performance. Let me make sure I load that up.
And this is on Bella, my piano upstairs, the real thing.
Oh, oh, okay, wonderful. I like that you have a name for your
Mhm.
piano. Here we go. Let's do this. One more try here. It's in the screen. Two. This is it. Yeah, you can see your students.
Yep. Mhm.
Here we go. They're having fun with that. That's great.
Fun with type 2 fun, let's call it that. Yeah.
A little type 2 fun as well. Yeah, I actually was able to do that. Yeah. Um, for some reason, that also reminded me of two things. I don't know that the kids are watching the like Looney Tunes level stuff anymore, but and also just like the older cartoons, they used to expose you to so many classical, I don't know, the classics, right? Classical orchestral pieces and stuff. It also reminded me a little bit of some Marx Brothers stuff, right? Where they're where they're playing around on the piano. They clearly enjoyed switching
Yeah.
places. It's
Some
such
of
a
that is prompted by their teacher, but I'll say, you could switch places midway
yeah,
through.
yeah.
And my favorite phrase is what if? What if and then they make the ultimate choice. So they put that together. I didn't help them decide, but I did give them plenty of options and suggestions. So,
Very cool. Um, all right. Well, like I said earlier, unfortunately, we do have to wrap up a little bit short today. So I usually just give the guests a moment for some final words of wisdom or thoughts, or send people onto a link or go check out the thing or get excited about the next thing. So go ahead and you have your minute for that here, and then I'll wrap it up. We do really appreciate you joining us.
well, thank you. You've put me on the spot. I think what you've seen is that music, like I'm not trying to grow the next pianist. In fact, I had a conversation with the president of Music Teachers National Association, and we were talking about he's a fantastic teacher, and 6-year-olds were coming with their resumes of, yeah, I know, I did that same look, like, really? And he said, yes, but yeah, I don't take those students. And so then I said, who really does the world need more pianists? And then he said, exactly. And then almost at the same time, we said, you know what? The world needs more musicians. And so I feel like, yes, through the piano, I am teaching future musicians. And that's what I hope that I can have my, when they walk away from my studio, I'm hoping that they feel like a musician. So I guess that's my message, is that we are using the piano to teach an art form that can help other people express themselves. And I think that's just a really important thing, a very noble job, and I'm very glad to be a part of it.
Wonderful. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that just reminds me, and I'm reminded this often, talking to folks like yourself. There is just playing music in and of itself is just rewarding for the person playing it. You know, it's soothing. There's emotional processing going on. There's all sorts of, you're training your brain for other purposes at the same time as learning music. And yeah, everybody doesn't need to go, like you said, compete in some, what do you call it? Von Cliburn competition or whatever, right?
Mhm.
But it could make the world a better place if more people know how to play music and have musicianship and pianism in their life. So appreciate that.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Thanks a lot to you for joining us and our audience today. Thanks folks for joining. I'll do our outro and then and we'll sign off for the day. So this has been the end of another exciting journey here at Piano Tech Radio Hour. And of course, thanks to Layla This for joining us and our audience here that's been present. We appreciate your presence. As always, we're brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses, cutting edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. If you are joining us for the first time today, you can make your life more convenient. You can subscribe to Piano Tech Radio Hour, just $16 a month. You get the recording of today's session in our member area, as well as automatic registration for each week's new session. You can sign up at bit.ly/join-PTRH. That's bit.ly/join-PTRH. We also have the podcast to remind you of that. We have the Substack blog. We have the socials, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can sign up for our email list at pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. And that's about it for today. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy these last days of summer. School year is about to start. Hope you all have a great day. And we'll see you again next time.